It's always one of the joys of doing live stuff. And last week we canceled in the middle of the show. We're glad you're here. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us. Okay, and be sure to go ahead and you can throw something in the chat if you're hearing us. We can never tell, but currently the YouTube connection is giving me an excellent. It helps my ego occasionally. It says we have an excellent connection, and what I'm going to do is so we're pre-show. We're always talking to our guests. And Johnny, welcome. Let me get that straight first. Sorry. And Johnny and I are sitting here chatting. We have this little ritual. We get on the show 10 minutes early, and we talk to our guests, and we just make sure that we have a fun conversation with them before we start. And then today, their audio wasn't working, and nothing we could do that would make that work. And so we're on Plan B. And Johnny and I are probably the best Plan B people that you're ever going to find because
We
we're experienced at Plan B. And it's sometimes when you do live things, and he's done live shows, and I've been on stage, well, in the thousands of times over because I just had so many years of playing music, and stuff goes wrong on stage, and it's just you learn to deal with it and laugh about it afterward. It's not always funny in the middle of it. So
well,
you ever any shows go totally south?
have I?
Yeah.
Oh my god, stand-up comedy is the worst. If you're in a play and it goes south, there's some advantage because, "Hey, Ray came back."
Yeah. Let me see if he.
Can you're talking, but I still can't hear you.
Let me see. I'm gonna check your audio settings. Right. Let
Yeah,
me.
ladies and gentlemen, wait, here's the deal, is Don trying Ray was with us, nothing here he is, he's clearly available, I don't know if you can see him or not, we can.
Mhm.
Can't hear him, and Ray does not do mime that I'm aware of, so
No,
there's some sound problem against the wind. There's some Ray in the box. So so we can't so so we're gonna have to boot him. We've asked him to come back, just, the Ray Conley show is now October 28th.
Yep.
Um, and let you know right now, Melanie, Schmidt from Hachette will be here next week, and the week after, lovely Joe Hempel from Friday Night Audio, Nikki Zaycox, Savannah Gilmore, all happening coming up. No, we did so Savannah, she wasn't able to do it last week, so she's coming back, and then Ray's the 28th, and I wanna let you know in the audience, whether you're watching it right now or gonna watch this later, we do plenty of openings, throughout November and December. If you wanna come or have a guest in mind, please drop us a note, let us know, we'd love to have you. Clearly, Ray Conley is gonna be our guest, so clearly we don't have any high bars to get in, you know? Yeah. So, but here's my question, how come Ray's still here if he's not gonna join us?
Well, he just I think he rejoined
Yeah, he just oh, you
he's
just did it.
and yeah, he was just trying it because
Okay.
he thought maybe
J
it
uh,
would work, and we don't
yeah.
know what's happening on that. All
And
right,
and
right,
just
yep.
oh, he's gone. Just so Ray, and you go in the chat and chat, Don Don can respond to that, and, his lovely wife, Lisa, responds to that on our behalf a lot of times, but I can't respond. I can't get in the chat. I don't have it.
Yeah.
I see your questions and respond to them live, but I can't chat with you. So, if you wanna say something privately to me about, how much you dislike Don Barnes, just text me.
Yeah.
I get a lot of texts like that during the show.
Yeah, but take a number.
Hey,
You
by the
should
way, so you said if things go south. In a play, it's a script. So if someone goes up in the lines or it's a bad play, which you probably know anyway, you just carry on and there's a cast to support you, and there's usually someone who can pick up the idea. We know it's supposed to be said, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedy, if that goes south, you better have some other material because it really depends. I mean, you have a choice, be true to the material you wanna do, or go ahead and do a whole set, of foul Shriner jokes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, let
Well,
whatever you want. But yeah, if going south in a comedy show, it's happened to be once in my storied career, and it's ugly, it's awful. It is
it's
literally the actor's nightmare where
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
idea that you wake up in the middle of a show you don't know anything about. It is it's horrible.
Yeah.
When things go south here, here's you and me who can banter effortlessly for years on end until our wives leave us.
Right.
Um, that's talking too much is not an issue for me or you.
Yeah. No, and I've had things where microphones haven't worked. Singers that go up and they're in the wrong. They start at the wrong point, and the whole band just goes. Most of the time, but it's a good life lesson. And we all have this, and so you'll have yours in different formats. Not you,
Yeah,
Johnny, but I mean
yeah, yeah.
everybody who we're talking to, you'll have this. And one of the greatest things about being in this business over time is trying to figure out, okay, plan A doesn't work. What's plan B? Because stuff's going to go wrong. That's just the nature of this stuff. So, what cool things do you have going on here that we haven't talked about? Because you and I, we haven't been on the show for over a month,
Yeah,
and probably you've had all like New York is horrible in the summers, isn't it?
well, it's
Oh,
one of the great things about New York in the summer, particularly August, which is big vacation month, is that many New Yorkers leave, which makes it so much so much nicer.
we have the same thing here in LA when the Olympics came 20 years ago, where all the natives left and like the freeways worked, and it was
Yeah.
like really a
Yeah, all of a
great
sudden,
town all of a sudden.
Joanna and I could go eat wherever we wanted, you know?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was very nice. Let me think what's going on here. Well, here, I can't read that.
Here, I will highlight that
That's
so
too
that you
tight
can
to
read
read.
that. And
Much better.
Plague on South Story as the lead in the senior year high school play. I had to improvise when two actors were not available for their cue to come on stage. Not funny, but I laugh about it now. Well, Johnny? What's the definition of comedy? What's one of the
Uh,
definitions?
it's tragedy when it happens to me, but funny when it happens to someone else.
Yes,
Yes.
and and it's definitely tragedy plus time.
Yeah,
So the Titanic could be funny today because we all, I mean, it's like it's happened, it's part of history, I don't
although
know.
I will say not a lot of comics are doing, Titanic set.
Well,
Yeah, yeah. Too
we're
soon? It's
we
like
might be sinking right now though, so we
yeah,
can
sure.
start the process.
Yeah, you gotta be a little careful your time. I'll tell you, I remember I can't remember if it was a pro show or still in school, but, there's a lot of times a lot of times, I had to be university or high school show where they try to have big casts because in high school and colleges, you want as many of the students whose
Yeah,
parents are paying to
yeah.
be in the show.
That's why I was in
So
a show
usually
in
you do
high
these
school.
big shows, big
Yeah,
musical numbers and stuff, and you have all these guys who are, photographer one or something. So I remember there's card playing going on in the green room, the dressing room area,
right.
and sometimes the game was good enough that people literally miss cues.
Oh, okay.
They're 'cause they had a good hand. You've got to you're looking for the inside straight or you got a nice flush or something here. Yeah, someone else can take that cue. So
But the one thing about a stage thing, and similar to what we're doing, where if somebody misses a cue, somebody else can pick it up, and you really hope somebody does step in and
unless the person missing it is playing Othello or Lear or
well,
something, they've got that's
yeah,
kinda
yeah,
I
you
I
hope.
think I told you this story once where I was doing oh, I wanna say Two Gentlemen of Verona, but I can't remember if it's one of Shakespeare's comedies, and a college play, and a professor in the graduate school who was just a big he played Falstaff, he was perfect, he looked like Falstaff, just a com and he had to come in as a sheriff in a scene, a Falstaff I don't know if it's Falstaff or a Falstaffian role, but his job is come in and he had some, Einbeck pentameter paragraphs to share with us about how he's in charge, everything's fine, he's taking care of it. Maybe it was, half page of a monologue,
Okay.
short monologue, and he froze. Literally, he didn't forget his words, he froze. He gets out and he just goes and he just stammers for a while. Now this is Shakespeare, so everyone's looking, and we're not really sure because he's the fulcrum of the scene. He's the guy moving it along. So he goes, "Ha ha, 'tis okay," and he left.
And then,
Now, it was tough for the actors because it's hard to you got Neil Helligers can improvise Shakespeare pretty well, but a lot of people can't do it.
yeah,
I think some of us just picked up a few things and moved to the next scene as soon as we could. But for this day, "'Tis okay" is my response to many problems.
and I'll bet it's gotten you out of a lot of sticky situations. So,
Ah, "'Tis okay."
yes, well, and so let's see. KW just said, "Finally here while it's live." Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here. And
Yeah,
Larry,
yeah. Picked a good one there, KW.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So let me go ahead and this one. We know the line, but we don't know who says it. Yeah.
I had not heard that. That's very funny. It reminds me of the what's that little the actor studio they're talking to some story about Olivier and Dustin Hoffman where they were Marathon Man,
Oh, yeah.
and Hoffman's involved in that, really, intense, Stanislavski and Maslow kinda thing, and he's going in, and he's trying to find his place, and little Sir Laurence Olivier goes, "Try acting, dear boy."
Yeah. Hell,
Stuff like that's great.
it's good. So what are you doing? I know you have something coming up in a month,
I do. I have
ish.
something coming up that I'm very excited. So we'll talk about this and talk about your project and some other things, and also open for questions. First, I do wanna repeat, um, that we have we our guests, I usually reach out to people, so I don't know everybody who watches the show or comes on, but if you are a viewer of the show and involved in the voiceover industry, we have people from, beginners to experienced to very experienced to teachers to coaches to publishers, the whole gamut. We wanna have because everybody has stories to tell.
Right.
Where are they? How do they get there? What's their plan? What's going on? And everybody strikes a chord with our audience because that's what we want. That's what this is about. So if you'd like to be on the show or have someone who you think we should talk to on the show, let us know and we're happy to schedule them. I no one makes any money off this. So it's every Tuesday. Tuesday, October 14th, we won't have a show because Don and I will be at the New England Narrator Retreat. It's our 10th anniversary. Joanna and I have been hosting this retreat for 10
I
years
can't
now.
believe we've been dating that long.
Yeah, I
Gee,
know. Well,
it's
I when did you've been there, what, 5
I think
years
I'm
now?
4 I wanna say 4 or 5, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I do
Uh,
remember the
yeah.
you don't even see, like, he doesn't even remember how I got there.
No, I
Uh,
don't. I have no recollection. Do you?
I do, I know exactly because I did it on purpose that
Did you weasel your way in
I
somehow?
weaseled my way in the first time because we kinda knew of each other. I mean, we had crossed paths 30, 40 times over the previous 5 years where we might see each other at an event. You knew who I was, I knew who you were. But the first time, I just said, "Hey, you don't even have to pay me, and I'll do a session for you." And you just said, "I don't know, this guy's a loser." And, and you
That was
agreed to
only based on what I'd heard about him. Yeah.
yeah, and I did the first one where I just said, "No, I'll show up, I'll cover everything," and I just did it, and I think a lot of people who are, a performer, very often, the hardest thing in performing is getting your foot in the door the first time with someone like, I know one of the reasons why you did really well when you first started this, you could go into a studio and you didn't embarrass anybody and you were fun to be around and people liked working with you, and but the first time they're like, "Oh, no, we're spending hundreds of dollars an hour, and if this Johnny Heller guy who they didn't know to begin with bombs, man, that costs a lot of money if Mr. Heller doesn't produce." So you have to find some way to have those people be comfortable that you told them about your acting background and
Yeah.
your theater background and your live stage performance background. And they might have heard something you did and they took a chance on you the first time. And then once you proved yourself, then it's like, okay, it snowballs from there. And we all in this business, the hardest thing is getting started, getting a foot in the
It
door.
began for me, because I had the phone number of the cocaine dealer.
Yeah.
So, doors open for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was a musician, so we're not
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
we're not
So
I don't mean to say I can see you and raise you, but so I'm gonna leave that.
hey, clean off your snare drum, will you? I need
I got lucky. The only reason I'm not a drug addict, I mean, not the only reason, but the primary
the
reason that I'm
single.
not is that I was too cheap.
Yeah, I knew you're gonna go to cost. Yeah.
It was like I couldn't the guys around me were all they and once they figured out that I refused to buy, because you know, when you're a young musician, it's, "Hey, Johnny, you got some pot? Let me have some."
Yeah.
And everyone would share. But what they expected from that, it wasn't a, "Oh, we'll just share." They
Yeah.
expected that I was gonna then buy and that they would share some of mine. And
Yes.
so I you know, I don't so there's one thing I tried one time because somebody had it. I'm not going to admit to what it was. And I just thought, wow, that's expensive for that
Yeah.
experience. And I was not willing to buy and they stopped. They
Well,
stop. They're like,
if
they'd
you do
use it
enough
around me.
drugs,
They just
if
wouldn't
you
do
do
it.
enough drugs, even heroin, you can become the director of health and human services. So it's not a downer. Um, so let me go back to New England. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's direct it away from this nonsense.
Yes.
This is why we need Ray Conley on this
Yeah.
show, so we don't have to down
We don't
these
have
dark
the
paths.
discussions of our youth. Okay.
Couple
Indiscretions.
idiots, couple old idiots talking about mistakes we made. So
It'd
so
be a long
the New England Narrator Retreat. It started as, there. I want to say we were I think we're one of the original actual retreats. I know people, and I'm not putting anybody down. The fact that there are many options for
I think we were original
narrators and
people on the planet. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
voice people. The fact there's things to do and go to, I think it's fantastic,
Yeah,
especially in an industry like ours that is booth and individual centric.
right,
You don't see a lot of people, but when we all get, that's why the Audis and now there's these PANA awards and there's so many awards now. So of us, everybody dresses up and that's great. It's a chance to do stuff.
right,
Um, I'm not a member of PANA or APA or those things, so I don't know all the events when they come up, but I think it's fantastic that people have a chance to be recognized, rewarded, and I don't really care if Macmillan sends the book in or I sent the book in.
right.
And whether or not I get an award or not, it's always nice to be recognized, always nice to be nominated, lovely to win. I'm telling you guys, if you win an award, it's great, but it doesn't get you the next job. I mean, look at the curse of the Oscars, you know? Look at Marissa Tomei winning an Oscar and then not getting another gig for it. It's just who knows what happens.
Right.
But it's still nice to dress up, nice to feel it. So the New England retreat happened because I've been doing workshops and coaching, and we decided it would be fun to get people together for a chunk of time in New England because of its beauty. Sounded good to us. We had Rhode Island first, lovely place, and now we're outside Boston in a town called Ashland, Massachusetts, like Framingham, and it's a lovely place,
It's
and they've just
spectacular.
redesigned it. We were
Yeah.
there last year for it's gorgeous. The food's fantastic. If anybody in this universe wants to join us, you go to my website, johnnyheller.com, and just you can see it. Click on the workshops. It's right there. There is space available. I don't think we have singles on site anymore. There's an off-site hotel if you want a single. There are some double rooms available so you can share. I think we have one or two. I think we have a male and a female, or at least I'm sure a female who needs a roommate or wants a roommate to cut costs a little bit. We have one. They open cabins for us. Remember those
Oh,
cabins, Don,
yeah.
that all those field hockey girls, the sports guys were in?
Yeah.
And so we didn't have access to them. Now we do. We have 4 cabins, 3 of them we've sold, and they do like you can have like 15, but that'd be like kids, I think. Most for adults, it'd be like probably 4 adults because it's 4 bedrooms and I think 2 bathrooms, but in a cabin, and that really cuts the evening costs and stuff. So we have that. And the way, if you've never been, you can see the agenda in my schedule. But what happens is Don starts the morning off with pickleball and hula hooping and
Jump rope.
jumping
We
rope
used to
and
jump rope. Yeah.
crap like that. And then everybody else gets up at a reasonable hour and heads to breakfast. And then we have our first morning panel, and then we break into a session. Then we have lunch. And then we have directed reads and publisher. We have publishers from Macmillan, from Podium, from Spotify, from who am I missing? Why am I missing? Don't miss.
I don't
Well,
remember.
I'll
Yep.
go to my site and tell you anyway. But we have
But
people from all over, so they're going to be watching you, listening to you, and making. And it's not just people on a pedestal. You know, one of the problems I find when you, the actor, meets a casting person. Oh, Simon and Schuster. That's what I missed. That's
yeah,
a
well,
big one.
who are
So,
they?
yeah, that little Simon and Schuster company. I find that sometimes it's hard because you hear about people,
Right.
and you know their names or you know their position. You know it's Simon and Schuster. You think, whoa, and so you don't act like yourself sometimes. This gives you the chance to have that awkward moment, and then to follow it up with the real you because you're spending 3 days together.
Right.
You're having lunches and dinners, and you're doing karaoke, and you're around the fire pit. It's a very oh gosh, it's like Up with People, except we drink and stuff. Um, it's charming. I'm telling you, Don Baarns is a big name in the industry. You guys know him as his friendly, self-effacing, generous, sweet man. He's a big deal. He knows just so much, and he's so helpful to so many. He's well regarded, and sometimes when people meet him, it's like I talked to Simon Vance yesterday about this. Sometimes people put you on a, I hate to use the word, but on a pedestal, or they revere you or just know your reputation, and it can get in the way of meeting someone. Have
Yeah.
respect for what people do talent-wise, but you know what? We all put on our pants, one arm at a time, same as anybody else. Um, and, just gut up in the morning, jump really high, try and land in the pants. That's how we all do it.
Yeah.
So, you just when you meet Don Baarns, you'll find out that he does look like a confused albino. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I know that that's the rumor, okay? In
Yeah.
person, I'm whiter,
Yeah.
okay? So so
On a bright summer day, you can't even see him.
yes, the actually, and they always go, you're shorter than I thought you would be, and you're not as anyway.
I
So
I I never get the shorter thing. Like, you're
but
exactly as
but
short as I'd assume.
here's the thing that I find fascinating, though. You end up having lunch and finding out that the publisher person is a regular person. You wanted to know them, but the only time sending them an email, they know nothing about you other than the email,
Yeah.
and it's just different if you've had lunch and you found out. Now, this is a specific thing. One of the people there liked cats. As many people do, but you don't know that about somebody. And then another person there was kind of, I thought it was great because it's the same table. Another publisher, that person doesn't like cats. And they just kind of said, I'm just not a cat fan. And they like dogs, whatever. But if somebody there had their ears perk up and did the right thing, they would have cataloged Johnny is a cat person, Don hates cats. And then when they send a message, if they found a cute cat thing, they'd send it to Johnny if he likes cats and says, hey, just thought you'd find this fun. And you get to send them something and it's in context. Remember, we were talking in New England about, and
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
a totally different relationship than somebody who I've only sent email to,
There is I remember when I lived in Hollywood out in LA there, and Joanna and I were out, and we had to join a lot of these casting things.
right?
We didn't know anybody, so you had to pay
Right?
for sessions with
Yep.
casting people, and it was really pay to play, and the union eventually shut it down. A lot of what's happening in audiobooks is these sessions where you pay money, you, the audiobook actor, to have a chance to read for, Don Barnes of RB Media or something, that you
Yeah.
get them, and the thing is, there's no promise of a job after that,
Right.
and while I think it's a little probably it's advantageous for the actor and for the publisher because it gives them a chance to see people they would not normally see and a whole bunch of people at once.
Right.
The New England Retreat is a larger version of that, and for the money that you pay, and we've tried to keep it reasonably low, certainly in comparison to a lot of others, but the point is you get training with some first class coaches, but you get this experience. It really has it's a real community familiar. We don't make it too big. This will be the most we've ever had because, pardon me, it's our 10th anniversary,
Right.
but we try not to make it too large because I don't want to get rid of that family friendly ethic that these are, and there's times, there's stuff to do that's scheduled, but you don't have to go to any of it.
Right.
There, and you can wander the grounds. Hopefully, the leaves will be changing. They usually are around then. There's this waterfront there you can see. It's gorgeous, and there's a marijuana distillery right not far away, and there's all kinds of swell things a person can do there. They've got a frisbee golf
I was
course.
gonna say the first time I was there, one of the
Yeah.
first thing Heller's walking by me. I'm look like a lost puppy. He feels sorry for me. He says, "Hey, we're going out to play frisbee. You want to join us?" He wasn't thinking of inviting me. He just happened to realize that I was
Had I
sitting.
not seen him right there, I thought with those
And
holding
so
a bunch of frisbees and looking
we
sad.
played frisbee golf, and established ourselves as near pros who don't do the circuit anymore. No, we
I
were.
yeah, I I
I was
I threw
awful.
left-handed, remember? I was better lefty than righty.
I let's just say nobody really wanted to be on my team after they saw the way I was playing, but
Well,
we still
I
had a great time. It was a
yeah.
blast. It was, this time I'm gonna do pickleball in the morning because they have a pickleball court, assuming if
I've
the
not seen that. I wanna play. I haven't seen the court, and I've never played, so we're gonna do it. I'm doing it
so
with you.
it's a
I'll get up
assuming
at
the
5
way,
in the
yeah.
morning and play pickleball.
Yeah, it's a great sport. Anyway, it's a worse name for a sport, and you just kinda
Yeah,
get
it's
used
bad.
to it. So yeah, that's just the
Hey,
way it
if
is.
anybody has any questions about the New England Retreat or other things going on, because here's other stuff that's gone on in the month. I wanna talk to Don and bring up his, ACX,
Yeah, pre-check.
pre-check that he developed for you guys. Matter of fact, let's talk. I just had a little chat. Let's talk about that. Tell us a story on that, how you came up with it and how it's going and how people can get it.
Yeah, well, first, it's free. I'll show it off in a second, but just note, approximately 4 years ago, I hired a developer to create this product that I now have. After spending somewhere between $800 and $1,000, I abandoned it because the developer was doing he could not solve some specific problems, and I literally just threw away the 800 bucks that I had invested with this guy. And because at that time the technology was very difficult to work with, today it's a lot more accessible. And then I also decided I was going to do a huge part of it because in my 30s and 40s I did some software development back in the day, and I knew enough about it, and the tools are so much better now, so I just built it myself. So the bottom line is there's something out there, ACX Labs, Second Opinion, and all of them were doing something that I thought, oh, that could be so much easier for people. And this time I finally did it, and I had a prototype available in a week. And I thought, this is gonna be easy. In a couple of weeks, I'll be done. And then 6 months later, working a good solid 40 hours a week for 6 months, more than sometimes my regular, job will say, to develop this thing. And today it works. And it's one of those things. It's like being a great actor. When you're a great actor and you are in the part correctly, it isn't obvious that you're acting. If you're watching a great movie and you see a character, there does come some point where you think Denzel Washington is actually a hit guy or a Superman or whatever character they've become. You suspend your disbelief and you start seeing them as that character. And this product here is the result of a crazy amount of time, and then there are 100 little things about it that no one will notice at first, and later as they dig in, they should go, "That's really well done," and I'm really proud of it because it's just turned out fantastic, but at the expense of an insane number of hours, and so it's been a passion project that I've been doing on the side, and now it's live, and I can show just a little bit of it. Let me see, here it is here. And what happens is you get to drag files in. And when you drag files in, I'll drag in a set of files here so you can see this. And I'm grabbing a set of files. I'm doing that off screen and I'm dragging them. And then when you drop them in, it just puts them all in there and you click one button and it starts going through. And the little dog here is now sitting in the background listening,
That's my favorite part.
and he's going through the library there, checking your stuff, and then it comes up. Now it's still finishing them and adding them in, but it gives you a preview as they're coming up, and it's still at the top now. It just finished, and what did it do? It did 15 files there, a couple hours worth of audio, and if you hover over a row that failed for some reason, then it'll tell you that, and it turns red at the top. I mean, there's 100 little things. There's even there's enough stuff here that I think you'll be pretty shocked, but it's okay. No one will get it. If you hover over things, for example, watch this. I'll hover over this. It tells you what RMS is and a bunch of things about it. If you're hovering over things, it tells you more. And there's all these details. If, for example, as long as you do all MP3s, then it grays this out because that's what most people do. Or if you do all waves, it grays that out because that's the idea. Most people are going to either submit raw things that are all waves or they're going to send all MP3s. But what happens is this little feature no one will appreciate until one gentleman had made a mistake and he was testing some stuff and he had one wave file and then he had 40 MP3s. So he had 41 files in his project and he accidentally had one that was wrong. And because of that, now if you get them all right, it just grays it out. You don't need to know that. You did the right thing. If you accidentally, or if you have a mix of wave and MP3 and other things up here, this will change and tell you, you happen to have a WAV file. That's okay. The program doesn't care, but it wants to warn you. And then another little simple thing that no one will appreciate is it says here, all mono. Well, that's because by default, you're either going to be all mono, all stereo, all whatever. And if I go through here and I do something like this, or I take and I've dragged in some, this one, I dragged in a file here that's stereo, and while you don't really know it right now, it does tell you. It's looking at that I put in 5 mono, 1 stereo, and when you check it, those I just did, I don't know, 5, 6 files there. And what it did was it now switched it, and up at the top, this is the little details that over and over and over again, it tells you you have 5 mono and you have 1 stereo. And what people won't at first realize is I can click on this 1 stereo, and it just resorted it, and it will show you based on what you click on. Now the stereo one is at the top, or if you click it again, the stereo one is at the bottom, and there's a little icon here that has 2 circles versus 1 circle. And there are just 100 little things that when it's right, no one will notice it. And if you get everything
That's
right,
great.
then it just tells you it's right. So it is checking a lot of things. And the new thing I just put in yesterday, if the word sample is in the title, then it will validate that the sample is less than 5 minutes long. And this happens to turn red because it tells you here the retail sample is too long, max is 5 minutes. So it's telling you 2 pieces of information: what's wrong, and then what you need to do to get it right. And that's true of almost all the things. um, if it's going to fail something, it also gives you some information about why it failed. So anyway, it's
Phenomenal, phenomenal.
crazy extensive in terms of what it can do. And really, when you're using it, it's like all good software. At first, it looks like, for example, to go back to the beginning, you click this little house icon, and there's a secondary thing. You press Control or Command and click it, and it'll create another tab so that you could keep one set of results and do another. And nobody will appreciate, although there's a tooltip on it that tells you that when you're over it. It's just details, details, details. So that's enough of that. It's free. Go to precheck.jumpstart.com, and I'll throw that in the little thing. Yeah, and Lisa's saying, well, um, what? So I'm gonna let me hide that there. So in the chat, my wife chimes in. She goes, "Ha, some software development." When the Y2K stuff came out, when Y2K was around, for you young people, age challenge we'll call it. Um, when the clock turned over to the year 2000, for about a year and a half, 2 years before that, there was all this conjecture that everything was going to break, planes were going to fall out of the sky, we were going to have riots in the streets because the police wouldn't be able to respond. And
And instead it
Microsoft,
was 25 years later before it happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. Well, Microsoft had Excel, and Excel had some formulas in it that were not compliant with the century changing over from the year 19 something to the year 2000 something. And these had been out there, and I wrote some code that they shipped worldwide. I mean, I hit over 1 million desktops for something that they did. They shipped it, that would audit Excel spreadsheets. I mean, they hired my company to do it. We built it. They distributed it, but it was a whole lot of software development. So I did a bunch of that when I
Yeah.
was younger. I like doing it, but it's like a big time sink because I don't do it all the time.
Th
So,
this this what you've done here, Don, is a real a mitzvah, a real wonderful thing for the community.
well,
It's crazy. It's such a wonderful thing that you developed and made, accessible to the community is just it just I mean, it just shows what a wonderful person you are, truly giving.
well,
Um,
it's one of those things I wanted to do for a long time, and I threw $800 at it 4 years ago and abandoned that, and then restarted it this year, and this time succeeded because I at that time the
yeah,
first time I did it, I let
but
somebody else do it, and I thought they would be able to do a better job than me. They would have done it in 10% of the time, but they couldn't do it right. There were so many little things they couldn't do, and now anyway, it's done.
these kinds of wonderful things you do and your graciousness and good heart are really gonna come in handy when you need character witnesses for your serial murder trials
Yeah.
g
Well,
come in the future.
that's we don't talk about that out loud. That's like Fight Club. We don't. The first rule.
What happens in my basement stays in my basement.
Yeah, that's right. You cannot, not out loud, Johnny. You can. You know the definition of a secret, though, right?
What?
It's something you only tell one person at a time.
Yeah, that
It's the old Johnny. Don't tell anybody. But
I want to, you brought up the YK2. I don't know how many people remember this, but there was not just one person, but a number of individuals who decided that that was the end of the world,
yeah,
basically.
yes,
And they spent every dime they had. I know a New York guy put billboards up all over, and everything, 'cause this is the end. He went up on top of a hill and waited for the world to change from 1999 to 2000, fully expecting the rapture or something
yeah.
to die. And these guys, I don't know, I'm curious to know, that'd be a great article. What happened to these guys? Like, they got together and, work at a car wash or something. I don't know.
Well, most of them now have gray hair,
Yeah.
okay?
My dog's asking to come in. Come in.
Yeah.
We're talking about YK2. You don't remember that. Come in. There you go.
And
Yeah, but it's
right? I
so
mean,
I'll tell you,
not
so during the month off, yeah, we all got it's all happening. I kn in this video, 'cause the way it looks like my hair's dark, but if you see me, it's salt and pepper, definitely salt,
yeah, and,
which
that's the
is
beauty of the filters that we both put on ours. I look much younger than I am and much prettier.
I don't, because I don't wanna give the wrong impression. Yeah.
Okay.
Um But so here's what's going on. So a bunch of things are going on. So this thing's coming out, New England Narrator Retreat's coming up.
Uh-huh.
I've done a bunch of books. I was asked, this came out of the blue, and I'm not familiar with the whole genre, but some years ago, Steve Smith and Lisa Smith, not related but work together out of Oasis Audio in Carroll Stream, Illinois. They do a lot. I did all the Flash Gordon books for them, all
Okay.
the audio and stuff, and and they did, and a whole lot of um, Edgar Rice Burroughs type stuff, all those leagues and Jules Verne type things and stuff. So they came out, and I don't know what had happened, but I'm known for being able to work fairly quickly and not make a lot of mistakes. And I think either the date happened, something didn't quite work, and I got a sudden call to do a book that's not going to be a series, but it's remember Speed Racer on
Yeah.
TV? And there's a Japanese guy who's like Superman called Ultraman. He's been around 40 years, as long as Superman, Ultraman. So now it's updated, anime and manga? How do you say
Sure.
that? Anyways, that stuff. So I'm doing Ultraman, and it's really well done. Really, it's well written, well researched, it's good stuff. It's just, it's a real joy to get to do that, and I'll say again, as I've said to many students or people who listen, I today, getting in this business, you kinda gotta find the genre you wanna get into. I do romance, I do erotica, I do science, whatever that. I have been blessed, truly blessed by not being locked into a given genre. So, this science fiction, this anime, so I do science fiction, all this stuff, and it really is much more fun. I don't believe I'd survive in the business as long as I have if all I was doing was a genre,
Right.
and that's one of the reasons, and Don has told you this, and our guests have told you this, once you get known for whatever it is that your genre, let's say, who's out here? Ray Conley's out there, and Ray's known to be a wonderful nonfiction history type narrator. Well, he starts doing it, and Ray says, I'd really like to do some poetry or some philosophy or some gritty fiction. Well, once he's got the okay and they recognize he's got the talent, a lot of the publishers are much more willing to give him the chance to do that.
Correct. Correct.
Now, granted, many of them will say, "You're really good at sci-fi, stick with that." But most will say, "Oh, let's do it." And I also want you guys all to know that I auditioned for 3 different books during our August off, and I got none of them.
Right.
Because I
But
hear all the time, well, people go, "Oh, you don't have to audition for books." I audition all the time,
right.
and I don't get everything,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like my career is over. I don't have, I mean, look,
You sounded like
actors
their ex.
actors audition.
You sound
Everybody has to audition
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. And it won't ever end because the reality is there's new people that are coming in and they're doing their best and they should. They're trying to get in front of all these same people we are. And the other thing that will happen after you've been doing this a while, a lot of those publishers assume, I'd really love Johnny Heller to do this, but I'll bet he's too busy. And they kind
Oh,
of go,
geez.
they end up, yeah, they pass you by because they think, oh, there's no way I'll get Heller. So then they go to their B or C selection, which may be whatever. But point being, if you are busy and you're doing a bunch of stuff and you don't keep the connections and keep talking to people and at least do something to be top of mind, you can get
Yeah.
passed over because they assume you're too busy. And that's as big of a problem as anything else. And then you have to keep auditioning and keep on doing things which keep you top of mind. And if you don't, then other people get the gigs that maybe you could have
Yeah.
gotten, but you didn't do enough in between gigs.
And
Yeah,
and to piggyback off that, a part of that is the reason why some sort of some sort of attention needs to be paid to social media if
right,
you're in this business.
right.
I know look, social media, let's be honest, they're the same as television. Should be the greatest invention. The phone, the damn phone should be one of the greatest inventions in the history of the world. I can text Don right now while I'm talking. I can call Don and get him. I can get a picture of him right here. I talked to Simon Vance yesterday. My friend Simon Vance. I FaceTimed. It was like we spent time together. That's an amazing thing. People don't even use it to call each other.
Right.
They text, "I'm just down the block." I'm like, "Who gives a shit? I'll see you in a minute." No one the stuff that we do. And so social media, which should be there to help connect ideas and thoughts and in art and just wonderful things and uplift, is just a place to whine about, bad service at the Dairy Queen or your congressman, just
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
It's become a and you've gotta so if you're not comfortable waiting in there, I'm telling you, you need a presence. You need a website, you need a presence because so many of the people casting you from all phases, all genres of voiceover, they exist on social media.
right, right.
I did an audition, an on-camera audition with the SAG-AFTRA Foundation. I hadn't done one of those where you read for a casting guy. Oh, and here's a learning experience, a new acting learning experience I'll share. So you pick a script, and I don't know where the scripts are from. So I picked one that I thought was age appropriate. I played an agent who was a Brooklyn guy, but sleazy. He didn't come across, but at the end he goes, that's a two-way street, that kind of thing with this female. So it's like you feel creepy doing it, but there's humor in a lot of scripts that people don't find. So I mind humor. And as I read it over and over and rehearsed with Joanna, who's a great coach, by the way, damn, she really helped me. One of the things she said that was so helpful was, "Look, you're doing a good Johnny Heller, but that's not who this guy is." And I thought, "You're right. All I'm doing is taking me and blowing it a little bigger so I appear larger than life, but that's not this character's not." And I thought, if this was an audiobook, who would this guy be?
Hmm.
Because you get to play characters all the time. This guy is not me. So then I made the decision and I did the job. I played this a sleazy Brooklyn talent agent, not me. And I'm telling you what, it went over like gangbusters, all because people are gonna here's Lisa I don't know if you've met Lisa Baarns. She's delightful, very talented, very pleasant, very personable, just a lovely human being. And I'm not saying it because Don's here, but I really like her. When you meet her, you think of that stuff, and she may think, "Well, what's my good stuff? I'll just be very nice. 'Cause I'm really a nice person." Well, that's not what I'm asking for sometimes.
Right,
That's not what the script asked for.
right.
So when you audition and it's a character, if it's an audition, just, Ray Conley just doing a nonfiction history, they're going to want Ray Conley. But if they want Ray Conley to play Judge Alito or something, he's going to have to play that.
Yeah, totally
And the
different.
choices we make have to be different. And so I learned because I'm used to getting work because of my chipper personality and quirky style. That's not who this guy was. And as soon as I did that, somebody else came to light, somebody else came out, and I don't know if I'll ever get work, but the guy sent me a note, sent me a personal note saying how delightful, just really a really nice he didn't have to do it, it's really sweet, all because Joanna coached me that it's not Johnny Heller, that's not who you're playing,
Yeah.
and we forget that a lot. Yeah, we forget that you're
But
not it doesn't have to be Mike Hennessy. Who's Mike playing?
the
Who's
big
yeah,
takeaway though is this: Heller has coached countless others. And what happened was by having a third party, somebody else looking at him on the outside, Joanna's perfect for that. She was able to bring out something and point out something that it's so easy for us to miss about what we're doing ourselves. And with all your experience, I'm not going to say you can't coach yourself. You do coach yourself 80%, 90% of the time. But having somebody else look at what we're doing in so many aspects of life is such a huge win. It's why people at the professional level of basketball or the Olympics or audiobook narration, they have coaches. Even the coaches have coaches because one of your peers sometimes can point out something to you, me, anybody else about one area that, hey, that's not you. You look at it this way, and that different point of view all of a sudden opens up a whole new world, even to
Yeah.
somebody who's immersed in it. So it's not just you, this is universal. Having
Yeah.
some third party that you can depend on and trust is huge. And everybody who's in this business should have some mentors and people that they can bounce ideas off of, and don't assume that, all right, I don't care how many you've done, 1,000 books, whatever, that still having Joanna there looking at what you were doing, she makes one suggestion and it changes the course of what you're doing. And that person is going to remember you, whether they pick you for this book,
Yes.
you have made an impression, and that's going to pay off over time, and maybe directly with this person, or he's going to refer you to somebody,
Yeah.
as long as you keep the contact going.
Yeah, and it was an interesting 'cause it's fairly competitive. There's like there's like 15, 18 people who are gonna read for this guy. So the first is Q&A, and I mean, this guy's done work. You don't know who casting directors are in films and TV and things, but you know, he's the guy who can hopefully get you an audition. So
Yeah.
a lot of people there's always the people in the group who raise their hand to allegedly ask a question. They just want
They just
to
want
say something to be noticed, like Mr. Cotta, Mr. Cotta.
to, yeah. Yeah.
You want that to be heard, and so that there's always that, but there was one fellow for whom my heart went out. We talk a lot about in our industry about imposter syndrome,
Mm.
and it hasn't really been negative for me or a problem for me, but I said this one fellow got up and, I don't know, he had read the script incorrectly somehow and thought he was supposed to they have a reader there. So let's say you're the reader and I'm reading Don, you're reading Johnny. Well, he had it reversed. And he
Oh.
goes, "Well, I thought I was reading those lines." He goes, "Well, go ahead and we'll switch then." He goes, "Oh, I need more. I can't." And he panicked. And he panicked because I do, and he's just getting he sat there for a while and he's like this, and you could just see this guy, 1,000 negative negative vibes flying through him. And he goes, the head of the casting guy said, "Listen, why don't you take it? Don't go now. We got just sit, relax, look over the script the way you need to do it, and come back in a little bit. There's no problem." He goes, "Oh, okay, okay." The guy got up and left. I mean, got up and left the stage, put his stuff away, and literally ran out.
Oh.
My heart broke, and I mean,
Yeah.
I was the next guy up, so I couldn't go talk to him thinking, "Don't do this,"
Right.
because
Right.
if you're gonna be remembered at all, it's gonna be remembered for to s sorry, for quitting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And yeah.
when the
Yeah. But
challenges come up, the challenges that you guys all get, and they're different. A challenge for Don, maybe a challenge for Don today was trying to get Ray Conley's voice thing to work, and it didn't happen for him.
right.
Well, Don doesn't feel badly about himself, but he knows something wasn't he's I guarantee he's gonna say, "I need to know why." Now, whether it's my fault or not, I
Right.
need to know what that was.
Yep.
I know he's waiting for this thing to be over to go investigate. That's Don. My thing was once this guy if I've been in situation I was in a singing for non-singing thing way back in Chicago at Victory Gardens Theater. I was trying to get into musicals, but I was afraid to sing because although I sing every minute now. So I'm at the piano like this, and I'm singing "I Got a Crow." You know that song? I got a crow. It's
N-
stupid from
I,
but it's a character song, and I'm so nervous. I'm scrapping my hands going like this on the piano, like I'm trying to make it catch fire. I'm going like this, and I'm going I got, and I'm panicking. So I got a line or two into the song. I go I gotta go, and I grabbed my music and ran out into Lincoln Park across the street, and I never went back to class. So I'm remembered, if at all, as the guy who ran out of the singing class.
well,
Now, it's
we,
a funny story, but I wish I'd stayed and learned how to sing, the song, you know what I mean? And since then, I've done musicals, but it took me probably 20 years before I did a musical.
yeah, but
Like that.
that's, yeah, okay. But you're basically what you're saying is you're normal. We all go through something like that. Your story, it took you 10 years, whatever, to come back to it. We've all had those moments where we want to run out. I heard the best thing. Do you know who Roger Federer is? Tennis
Yeah,
player? Okay. So one of the most winning, I don't know if he's the winningest or in the top three or whatever. He's just an amazing tennis player, won virtually everything. And he did a commencement speech recently, and I saw it on YouTube, and he blew me away with a couple stats. He said, "You know what my percentage of winning games were?" And I don't know. He said 80%. He says, "But you're playing point by point. Do you know what my winning percentage was on a point by point basis? It's like, no. I mean, I didn't say that out
Yeah.
loud. And he says 54%. Now, what he was basically, and he then told, look, I won 80% of the matches that I did, but I only won 54% of
Of
the
the points.
points, which meant I had to walk away from a lose almost half the time and keep my head straight about,
Yeah, yeah.
hey, that didn't, you will run out. We all have done that as an artist where we've had a
Look
bad day.
look
And
at Major League batting averages, man.
yeah,
People batting .230 and .250 far more than they're batting .280 and .290,
that's right.
and they're playing.
Can you imagine failing three out of four times?
No,
I mean,
no,
that's a really hard ratio to keep your head straight. And I just think in this business, while we're not going to have those exact same ratios, we have the
yeah.
same thing. How much time do you spend after you've done an audition worrying about whether you're going to get that part?
I wanna say no time at all, but that's not true because I'm an actor. So I
Well,
think I think but later usually later on, I said, "I wonder if I'm gonna" usually it's a week or 2 away, like, right now, like, Iris McElroy of Penguin Random House, had me audition for a book that I really wanted, an Old West gunfighter book. I love that.
uh-huh,
I haven't heard anything,
right.
so I'm assuming someone else did it.
Yeah.
But what I generally do here's I'm gonna answer Chris Walsh's question, but what I like to do is I send a note saying, "I'm assuming they went somewhere else. I got it. I'm assuming you picked a lesser narrator to get the job. I just need to know so I clear my schedule." So, I'm kinda jabbing them and giving because, I don't advise everyone to do that, but if you say something that's not bitchy but funny,
You're right.
it's easier. Because look, you're not gonna get every job,
Right. Even you.
not everybody got to be in Star Wars, so, you can look at YouTube auditions. Look at all the people got fired from Saturday Night Live, were just fine.
Right.
Why? I don't know why.
Yeah.
Let's hear what Chris Waltz did.
Yeah.
What's he,
So
he can't
I see many well-written fiction titles available on ACX. Many are 8 to 10 hours, but they're all royalty share. Should I make a case to the rights holder that their expectations are unrealistic?
I'm gonna say no because their expectations are not unrealistic. They likely will find an actor to do it. Their expectations are unrealistic if they want a really good narrator, 1, or 2, if they're not sure that's gonna make enough money to justify the audiobook. So the case you make to the rights holder is, why are you doing royalty share versus per finished hour? What kind of return do you expect on this? What's your plan to market the book? Because a royalty share is a share. So Johnny Heller, the actor, I'm gonna put it on my website, I'm gonna send it out, I'm gonna mention I've done it, probably encourage people to buy it, let them know where it is, maybe do some videos of me recording it, something that so what are you, Mr. Author, gonna do? Because you're getting half that. Now, Chris, it may not be a good book. You say well written, so right away we assume it's a good book. If it's a well written book and it's got a great title or a great cover, the royalty share may give you more money than you would have made on per finished hour.
But over a
The
couple
advan
of years, potentially. I mean, it
the
can be
advantage
a
of
one
I'm
year.
still making
Yeah.
I'm still making money from I don't have much on ACX anymore, but I probably got 4 or 5 maybe titles. I probably make a couple $100 a month and have done for years now.
Right.
And I don't know when a thing runs out. I just heard from my friend Scott Brick, he's gonna do the book MASH. And, I think Harper or somebody's doing it, and they said, "Well, Scott, no one's done it." And Scott said, "Johnny did it." I did it through Tantor, was out, and it got great reviews. It was a great book, had a great time, but it's not available anymore. So it's open season, at least for Harper. And so they didn't realize I'd done it or done it well. Now Scott's gonna do it. And he was sweet enough to tell me. That was really sweet of him because he doesn't have to. He said, "I know you did it." And he didn't want me to feel bad when I saw the book by Scott. Scott's a bigger name in the business than I am. So we're gonna get more reviews. I'm fine. I did it.
Yeah.
Had a great time. Would I do it again? Sure. You don't know who's gonna make money off thing, there's so many things you can't control, but in this instance, Chris, if it's a good title, consider maybe you'll make money in royalty share. If not, say, "Hey, I will do it for you, but let's do this." What do you call the mix? Royalty
Yeah.
share
Royalty
and
share
stipend.
plus is their
Yeah,
official
yeah, something like
thing.
that. So excuse me one second.
Right.
You can do that, and so you get because tell me you need some money, so you have some skin in the game.
Right.
That can happen.
Yeah.
Just they may not know. If I write a book and I'll say you can pay somebody or you can share money with them. Oh, I'll share money with them, not knowing the differences really. They may not know the situation. I wouldn't call it unrealistic though, because sounds a little negative.
Well, and
But
it
ask him
really
why did he
yeah.
choose that and what's his feeling?
Yeah, and it depends on that author and what do they know and what do they do marketing? How have their other books done? Or, what's their fan base like? And the reality is there's a lot of those that you can audition for and say, first off, you can audition for it. And especially if you're thinking of this correctly, at the end of the day, that audition can become part of your showcase and your previews and your samples. And you even can rewrite part of it if you choose to after you send in the audition and make it even better for you. So you can reuse it and you can make some good, solid returns on that audition. You need to be doing auditions anyway. But you also, if they like you, can say, hey, I'll do it for $100 a finished hour plus royalty share
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that I can pay for an editor, I can pay for, or you keep it all yourself, whatever. It doesn't really matter why, but you can do the royalty share plus and you can propose it, but there's no reason to propose it if they don't like your audition.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
if they kind of go, "Oh, Don's horrible," well, what's the point? Then I also, on top of that, said, "Yeah, and pay me $500 an hour." I mean, that's information they didn't need until they think I'm a
yeah,
good fit.
yeah. I'm a horrible narrator and I charge a lot.
Yeah,
So let's work.
yeah. So, and I can just tell you from experience, Lisa and I have done a crazy number where, but she has an author that originally turned her down. And today pays her not only a really good per finished hour, but pays her per finished hour and does royalty share with her because she has a track record with them.
Yeah,
There's an author that went away from her for 2 books and came back to her because, and she did a bunch of these royalty share plus the $100 an hour type thing. So you can propose that, but only after they like you. They don't
yeah, yeah,
like
you
you,
can
don't
a
matter.
relationship with an author is a great thing. My friend Todd Goldberg, whose work I've done, the Gangsterland series, I've done 5 or 6 of his books, he's in town and took me to dinner the other night. We had a great time, and I had met him. Nick Parag is a great author who, hires me to do all this stuff. Once you start getting so sometimes I think I don't mean to harp on you at all, Chris, but there's only question up there, so you're getting it. It's not unrealistic. The author may not know. Literally,
Right,
if I write a book about the Don Baarns drumming method, so I write the book and I'll say, I need a narrator. What's that going to cost? Well, it's going to cost, $5,000. Whoa. I don't know if I want to do that. We'll do a royalty share then you guys split profits after, Bezos takes his 60% and gives us 20 and 20. I said, well, let's do that. It's not unrealistic. I may not know that it might be better to do that, the royalty share. It might be better to pay somebody. I may not know.
right,
So there's an education thing. One of the things about ACX that I find fascinating is it really requires the actor who's used to just playing the role and doing the job to become the producer and to know things.
right,
When you like my friend Adam Barr, my friend Gary Bennett, those kind of Gary Tiedman, those guys, they know Stephen Corona when they know when they talk to an independent author about a book project, they've got to have the answers.
right,
And so you guys, not Chris, everybody, me too. If I want to talk to an independent author about their book, I need to tell them how it's marketed, the process, what the options are, who can distribute it, et cetera, et cetera. Whether we go through ACX or move it to Blackstone or go to Dion Audio, whatever we want to do,
right.
entirely up to us. But I have to know the things.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little. You're doing more of the business stuff, and you're holding their hand through some basic things sometimes. And as far as realistic, it kind of depends on where they are in the path. And then you have to decide, are you willing to invest because you may invest in a conversation where you're going to spend 30 to 60 minutes in little tiny chunks to go through that whole process and then they still may turn you down. So you have to decide, is that a something you want to
Yeah.
pursue? And if you do, then cool. And also, do they have other books? The first thing I'm going to ask when, like, based on what you said there, do they have other books and have they built a following and are they building a following? Like, are they actively already marketing and building their own audience and their own? Because if they're doing that, then that's worth doing. It might even be worth doing on a royalty share basis. So one of our little, it's like an indicator, nothing's perfect, but Lisa and I won't take a royalty share on somebody who doesn't have an established, like they're working to build an audience. Because really, let's pretend I narrated a book and now I'm going to try to market that book. It's not my passion. It wasn't my thing. Nobody who in my circle, my mom won't even buy the book. Man, she
Yeah,
might buy it once.
she will.
I mean, my mom might,
You'll
but
buy it for her.
once we get past that, yeah, my mom really wants it free. Let's be realistic. But once you get past about 3 people in your family, and most of them, unless they are interested in the subject, so the author has to demonstrate that they're going to write a second book, they're going to write a third book. Royalty share pays off for authors who do series and are building their own audience, and they pay off for the narrators if that author is part of groups that are in that genre and that they get the word out, and sometimes they tell the pre-release it's coming. Those are the authors that are gold over time for doing royalty share, because if they're not doing their part, there's nothing that you and I are going to do to move the needle enough to get a return on that kind of investment for royalty share.
We need to wrap this as it's 2 o'clock. So I want to thank everybody for being here today.
And
Again, Don put in the thing how to get hold of his ACX check thing.
yep,
New England Narrator Retreat coming up. Any questions you guys have about that, the show, you can. We're easy to find. You can text us. You can DM us, whatever it's called. If you have idea for show guests, I'd like to ask. I have a friend, Anna Garduno, a great commercial voiceover coach, lives out in Hollywoodland now, and I might have her on the show. And I'd like to know if you guys would like a commercial voiceover coach to be on there. Talk to them about a little different aspect of the genre. So, um, thank you so much for being a part of this. You are a big part of it. Spread the word. When Don posts that we're going to do this, if you would make comments, it would really, really be helpful.
yep.
A like is great, but a comment really does so much more for us.
Like,
So we'd appreciate it.
yeah. So you guys have a fantastic week. We'll be back next week, and as always, we look forward to seeing you on the wires. Have a great one. Talk to you.
Bye, all.
Bye bye.